hello. Welcome back for our other special edition for our teachers, Best Teachers Competition. We have two special ladies here, but welcome to Breaking the Chains. We appreciate all of y'all watching. So these two special ladies, I don't even think there's a second place, Miss. I mean, from the way I've heard people talk about you, Harley, that it's amazing, because I believe you told me earlier and stuff that you've been teaching for how many years?
This is my third year.
Third year.
Yes, ma'am.
And the teachers that were nominated were incredible, and we'll read them again as the podcast closed. But for your peers to vote on you and the community to vote on you, it made my heart just so happy. And Miss Kayla nominated you. And so, it makes my heart happy to know that people love you like that and that you were nominated number 2. And
yes.
So, but I just don't think there's a number 2. I think all the teachers are absolutely fabulous. And so we're going to get right into it and stuff. And so, Miss Kayla, tell me why you nominated this special young lady.
Because I'm proud of her.
Yeah.
We don't have a close relationship. That's because our family has drifted and she's longer in the generation lines, but I love her dad and I love her Aunt Chelsea, and she's one of the first, I think the only college graduate out of our family, and I'm proud of her.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And I know what you're talking about, because we didn't get that opportunity for colleges when we were going to school. It took 2 parents to work in, and so my granddaughter graduated. She won the Terry Award, and so awesome. It was because of amazing teachers here in our community, and that took the time with her and cared about her education. And that's what makes teachers really special. I think that y'all are counselors, y'all are babysitters, y'all are just everything rolled up into one. And I think that's why I love waitresses, and I always leave great big tips for my waitresses and teachers. I mean, sometimes y'all are the forgotten ones because you're more than just an educator and stuff. And so my first question to you, what made you choose to be a teacher?
Actually, my ag teacher in high school, I went to a large school, but she just really believed in me, and I mean, my family did too. I'm very lucky for the family I have, but she really influenced me that was the pathway I wanted to go down, and I wanted to influence kids the way she influenced me.
Wow. That's a great answer, because I talk about that too. I had certain teachers that, I had a learning disability in school, and so I remember my grandfather passing away when I was in first grade, and that was traumatic. And so I know that y'all probably deal with experiences like that of traumatic things happening to young people. If I wouldn't have had that certain teacher, I don't believe that I would even graduated. I mean, so just having somebody that helped me through that journey. I remember writing an essay, and I put, I am ugly, people hate me, no one likes me, and all of that. And she took this big red marker and she marked it out. And she says, you are extraordinary, I love you. And I still have that. I've had it for 60 years. And so that's how a teacher impacts another human being. And so thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. Yes.
When you have a student that's on the edge, how do you handle that? Because we know society the way it is right now, it's complicated.
I have a lot of students I've built good bonds with, and sometimes they come in and they're having a rough day, or just, maybe something that may seem small to somebody else is astronomical to them, and they just need somebody to listen to them and feel seen, and maybe somebody who even understands, and can tell them, look, this is what happened with me, and this is how I got through it, right? And I don't know, you got to love them through it, and you have to remind them that they are loved and they're needed, and they're a piece of the puzzle that, if it's missing, it's never going to be completed.
Exactly. So. And that's probably one of your hardest things being a teacher. I know as being a youth leader here, working with kids, that's one of my hardest struggles. How far do we go, to be able to mentor to them? So we have to have this little fine line as a teacher, I'm sure, as a leader, but like you said, sometimes all it takes is a smile or a hug or something like that and stuff. And from what I'm hearing about you, girl, you bring a lot of smiles to a lot of people. So, so what is one thing that you would change in education that would make a real difference, do you think?
feel like something that I would change maybe would be, I feel like we get appreciated, but for more teachers to feel seen, because it's not here, but all over, you just see like all these teachers that left the industry because maybe they felt like their hard work wasn't being noticed, and maybe they felt like they were doing so much but they weren't getting enough payoff for it, or things of that nature. And it is, you kind of forget the impact you're making even while you're in it. I mean, there's kids I have that call me that have graduated, and I'm like, I didn't think I really mattered that much to them, but it's crazy just to see that. But I just feel like, more support to those teachers to feel, loved and needed. And
absolutely,
that way we have less turnover of teachers leaving the industry. And again, this is everywhere because we're in a teacher shortage. So, just, I don't know, we need something to make them want to stay.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny that you should say that, because I try to keep up with it, but I noticed that the school board, acknowledges some of the teachers, and I do know the pirate spirit thing that y'all do, and that the Shepherd ISD, acknowledges the teachers and that. So, there's always improvement. I mean, I'm always trying to figure out how to make these kids feel important around here.
Right.
And sometimes they're so beat down, it's just so hard to get them to a positive level. But I think consistency. They know that we're here every Thursday night. They know at 5 o'clock that we're going to do prayer. They know at 6 o'clock we're going to feed them, and then at 6:30 they got to listen to Miss Brenda whether they want to or not. So we pick a topic each week, and so I just it's being a wonderful, consistent teacher as well.
Yes,
they know that smile is going to be there every morning.
Yes, ma'am.
And they know that they're going to get good, honest, truthful advice when they come to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that's why all these teachers must have nominated you, because I'm this long list of teachers, and I'm just glancing down at it, and I'm going, these are some extraordinary teachers. I mean, they're not playing. I mean, I know a whole lot of these ladies that go the extra mile, spend their own money, and I'm sure you're like most of these teachers. You probably use your own money at the first of the year to go out and make them classrooms look beautiful, and all the little things that you do for the kids. And I know how expensive it gets.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know most of the teachers, and probably including you, take it out of your own pocket.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Now I can see the bigger picture. If this was your last conversation with me, and you were wanting your students to know how much that you love them, what would you tell them right now?
I would tell them that I hope they know, even if they're mine or not, because a lot come across my path that may not have had me as a teacher, but I still know them, I love them.
Yeah.
But I want them to know that my door is always open, and if they ever feel alone, they always have me to be there for them.
Yay, that's amazing, and that is super, super important. I go to some of the football games, and you see so many kids on so many different levels, and you can just look across the way and you can tell. It won't be long till that one is going to be in some kind of situation that they have no choice but to be in. And so what do we do? As leaders and as teachers, I mean, it's hard to have conversations when you don't know their whole story or their whole life, and so y'all are the next step. I mean, y'all are the ones that spends 8 hours a day with these young people, and so teachers are critical.
Yeah.
And so you're right, they deserve a huge raise, and that's why I usually leave a $20 tip for any waitress that I see, because that's two jobs that I don't think that I could do. So, but what do you love most about teaching?
That's a good one, I think. I don't know, I love seeing the kids every day, I really do, and I love seeing them grow and achieve things that they think they could never achieve. I teach welding right now at the high school.
Welding?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, now I'm really impressed.
And I'm not amazing at it, and I'll go out there and show them that even I'm not amazing at it, right? But just seeing them, go out there and be like, I could never do that. And then trying it, and then they're building this foundation of, okay, well, this is a skill I can take, and I actually might be able to leave high school and go work somewhere that I could make some decent money, or, just have something cool that they know how to do that they could even use as a hobby. And I don't know, it's it's awesome to see them grow.
Wow.
And
Well, I've been watching your Facebook page, and I've seen some of them things y'all been making, and I'm going to be ordering some benches for out there. So,
Yes, ma'am.
so that is really, really cool.
yes, ma'am.
A few more questions and stuff. So, what do your students teach you that's not textbook? Wait a minute, start this over. What do your students teach you that textbooks never could? What do you learn from them?
They teach me so much. Just going from college into the profession, it was a shell shock. But you know, they really teach me that to be patient. But they also teach me that sometimes you have to look at things from a different perspective. And even though, and I tell them all the time, you know, I've graduated college, high school, and I'm older than them, but I'm still learning as well. And I make sure that they know that, because as much as I do know, there's still gaps that I don't know that the kids might know.
Yeah.
And I have kids that come in that, you know, maybe in the welding class that have been doing this for years with their parents. And so I'm like,
wow.
Look, you might teach me something new today, you know,
Exactly.
but they really keep you on your toes, but they really teach me to be grateful, and, you know, and they make me feel understood
Yeah.
a lot of the time too.
That's awesome.
So, yes,
That's
ma'am.
really amazing, and I think that's why when you have a connection, and I think that's why you had somebody who graduated who came back, you know, years later. It's because those little things, you don't act like you're above them, and you know, I get down here with these kids and play in the mud, or you know, or whatever the case may be, or play football or whatever, but they can relate when we act. And I know you having kids too, Miss Kayla. I mean, you know, you have to get down on their level sometime to show them that we're no better or worse than who they are and stuff. And so that's pretty awesome.
Yes,
So what made you choose, I think I've already asked you what made you choose teaching, but if you could go back and do any other kind of career, would you change it?
I don't think I would. There's some days where, you know, I might have a really busy day or a really long day or hard day, and I sit back and I'm like, what else could I do? You know, but then I go to work the next day and they remind me what I'm doing and what I was called to do and why I'm there. Some days are hard, but you always have to remember why you're there. You know, the kids are the reason. What are you doing to help these kids, and how you are making an impact? And you do have to remind yourself, because sometimes, you know, a kid might not grow as much as you feel they should have, and you're like, well, what did I do wrong? You know, what? But sometimes the kid growing socially and, you know, trying to think of the word, not just academically, but just themselves maturing and learning different life skills, sometimes that is worth more than anything else.
Absolutely.
You know?
I've had kids that came into here, and I have one particular young lady that I just adore, but when she first stepped into my building, she would sit underneath a chair, and she knows I'm talking about her if she's watching, and she would put a hoodie over her head, and she would never look up. And this went on for a year and a half. And then all of a sudden she'd come out from underneath the chair, but she still had the hoodie on, and she would sit like this. And then now she's standing at my podium, writing stuff on a piece of paper, wanting to speak to everybody. And so it was just a process of being consistent in this young lady's life, and having her Nana love me, and we communicated together as like sisters, not as a peer versus a parent. We are on the same page, and we had the same goal of making sure that little girl had all the needs that she did, and consistently being here. And so I thank you, you know, Harley, for that and the input. But one more thing I'd like to know, what is the funniest thing has ever happened in your classroom that you can remember?
Gosh,
Let's end this with something funny.
No, these kids are so funny. I gotta think of something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have kids. I have one in particular kid. I'm not gonna say names.
Yeah,
'cause,
that's
you know,
that's understand.
We can't.
Yeah.
But it was last year, and he came in, and he was just real sassy and joking around and whatever. And he just walked up to me and was like, "Miss Shireen, I need help on this." And then I was like, "Okay, so what do you need?" He was like, "Never mind." And he turned around, he walked back, and he went and sat down. And I was like, "Okay." And then that was the day, that class, I realized I'm going to start a quote list of funny things or interesting things that the kids have done, you know, just to kind of like, we'll talk about it. And anyways, they do funny things all the time, but really seeing them do things that's like, you wouldn't expect it, you know, it's like, okay, and it kind of catches you off guard.
And you know, when you're with a kid for a long period of time, you know, in a hallway when you start in 6th grade and you're there and you know them to high school, you kind of adopt them in a way, like Teddy, for instance. You know, Teddy's been with me for 12 years, and it's so funny. I would think that I would know everything about him and what he's doing, but I can remember about 6 or 7 months ago, and I don't know if I should say all this, but anyway, I was in the restroom, and I just got seated down, and all of a sudden, I feel something crawling up my leg. I look down, and it's a snake.
Oh, my God.
And I'm screaming, Teddy, get a shovel. There's a snake in the bathroom and stuff. And I could hear him running through the store, and he comes back and he tells, and I'm about now, I've got everything adjusted back, and all of a sudden Teddy throws the shovel in the bathroom. And I went, Teddy, what are you doing? You're supposed to be the man and kill the snake. He said, I not do snakes. And turns around and walks off and never said another thing about it. So the joy that young people bring us, I mean, every day Teddy brings me some kind of joy. And so I can completely understand how the students must bring you that kind of joy and stuff. And so, you know, I want to thank you for inviting this really special lady. Y'all got a $50 gift card.
Okay.
You get to take her to lunch and celebrate. But before we leave, I had another little contest, and I want to go over this really quick. I asked, since it's Valentine's Day, to send in some love stories, and we got several. But the top 2 just made my heart so happy, and so I'm going to read them really, really quick. And this one's from Miss Debbie Hebert, and it says, "My Valentine's sweetheart is my husband Daniel. The very first time I met him, I knew he was the one for me. When we met, he was 25 and I was 16. We dated a few months and married on May 4th, 1974. This man taught me what love is. He taught me about the love of God and I wasn't raised in church and didn't know what I know now. Galatians 5 verses 22 and 23 are the list of the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law." Those scriptures apply to our marriage. This man I married had all those qualities in him. Yes, we had our good times and our bad times. No marriage is without ups and downs. The recipe for our long and continuing marriage is through those scriptures. Is he perfect? No. Is he the man God placed with me? Yes. Over the 51 years we have been married, each mistake was a lesson learned. I am honored to have my husband by my side. If I could, I would keep writing. There are so many memories. It would be a book on just our lives together. Thank you, Deborah Hebert. And she sent me a beautiful picture of them and stuff. And so, you know, I never made it past 10. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm not the greatest cook in the world, but that could be a good possibility. So, but this one here is the one that won. And I'm going to be as quickly as I can. But this story really touched my heart. And it's from a young lady named Amanda. It says, "A father's love that even memory loss couldn't touch. My Valentine's story begins with romance. Most of them begins with romance. Mine begins with an accident, the kind that should have taken everything from my daddy, even me. But love has a way of holding on to what matters most. On a job site in Jacksonville, Texas, my daddy, at just 28 years of age, was electrocuted. While in knee-deep water, no less, I can't even read. After being airlifted, brought back to life, he was brought back to life 3 times, and remaining in a coma for almost a year, my father woke up. He was in the world he didn't recognize. His memories were gone. His body uncooperative, his mind fogged like a window in the winter. Doctors warned us that he would never be the same. He would have to be taught everything again, even the basic skills of eating, walking, talking. He was wiped clean. Months go by, he's in speech, and it happened. His very first word, the one his injured brain reached for through all the confusion, was simple: Amanda. He didn't remember the year, he didn't remember the accident, but he remembered me. I was only 6 years old then, But when I heard them say that, I understood only one thing: the daddy's love was for me. It is often found in the memories you keep. The love he had for me, he had settled into his soul. I was sent to live with him and my grandmother, who was a woman hardened by life and loss. Their house wasn't warm, but my father's love was. Even when he couldn't express it in the way he used to, it was there, steady, instinctive, unshakable. I was scared, I was confusing, but I did what life had taught me to do, and that was care for someone who couldn't care for themselves, couldn't care for me. I started guiding him through the routines he couldn't hold on to, repeating the steps day after day until they became our rhythm. But he gave back to me in ways no one else could see. He tried for me, he pushed for me, he attempted things that the doctor said were impossible. He woke up day in and day out, forced into this darkness. He had fought every evil within the darkness just to be with me. We worked hard, and after working, repeating, resetting, and reminding, he managed to play into the song intro Freebird on his guitar. But only when I was in the room. He wouldn't say, I can't, if others ask, but for his baby, every memory loss he had to take a step to, I can't even talk. Even memory loss had to take a back seat. Even when his mind betrayed him, his heart never did. He woke up every day in life and felt unfamiliar. But he still chose the same mission, to make sure I knew we was loved. People talk about grand gestures on Valentine's Day, roses, chocolates, candlelight dinners, but the greatest love story I've ever lived was a father who's remembered me when he couldn't remember himself. A father who fought his way back through confusion and pain just to give me a piece of the man he used to be. A father whose love survived trauma, time, and the limits of a human brain. If love is measured by the remains when everything else is stripped away, then my father gave me the purest love there is. This is my Valentine's story, unconditional, untraditional, yes, but unforgettable. A testament to a man whose love, unlived memory, and a daughter who carries that love forever, every day, and stuff. And so, Amanda, your gift card is here. And I want to thank y'all for all who wrote in your love letters and stuff. And so it was very, very amazing to read some of these letters. And so thank y'all again. Thank you so much, Miss Harley, for joining us on our new podcast. And we hope to have this contest again in the future. So, and Miss Kayla, thank you for nominating this extraordinary teacher. So we thank you for that. Thank y'all again. Until then, for our next podcast on Breaking the Chains.